If you were like me, struggling to put on size, grow your frame, and you just felt insecure, this might be the video for you. I'm going to be going over the things that I changed to go from skinny to happy. So, the first thing I'm going to talk about is overtraining. It kind of seems counterintuitive. You would think working out more equals more gains and more muscle, and that's just not the case. You have to think of it this way: your body is exerting tons of effort and energy, and you are not giving yourself proper time to recover. If I go out and I prioritize working out over eating and growing my body, then I'm never going to get out of that skinny phase. I might lean out, you might lose some fat, but you're not going to actually grow size and muscle. So, the first thing I'm going to talk about is overtraining. It kind of seems counterintuitive. You would think working out more equals more gains and more muscle, and that's just not the case. You have to think of it this way: your body is exerting tons of effort and energy, and you are not giving yourself proper time to recover. If I go out and I prioritize working out over eating and growing my body, then I'm never going to get out of that skinny phase. I might lean out, you might lose some fat, but you're not going to actually grow size and muscle. I was working out at school, I was working out in my spare time, working out with my friends. I was really obsessed with it, and I thought that that would get me to my goal faster. Consistency is very important, but you can take your frequency instead of 5 or 6 times a day, like I was doing, down to like three. By taking less days and going to the gym and resting more, you're just giving your body proper time to actually recover. If you are enhanced and on gear, then you can work out and recover super fast. So you should work out 5 or 6 times a day, but for us natural guys, the more time that you take to rest and recover is going to be beneficial for you. The next thing I wish I would have known sooner is not every calorie is the same. I used to think that if I ate, 3,000 calories of just donuts, that it's the same as eating 3,000 calories of meat, and that is simply not true. If you're taking in food, you need to look at what it's made up of, what kind of ingredients are in it, because these are all things that contribute to your muscle mass. You might eat something that's high calorie, high protein, but it's tearing up your hormones. So if you're a man, you're going to want more testosterone. So if you're eating something that is tanking it, well, that is not going to benefit you how you think it will. I used to go to my friends with McDonald's and I would get $5. I would take $5 and I would get 5 hamburgers because they were like less than $1 at that time. And I would think that, oh, I'm bulking, I'm doing something good, not knowing that I am destroying my gut, that I am not giving my body calories that I'm actually going to do something with. Some people say the calories, aren't an accurate measure, and that's probably true, but for namesake, we're going to focus on it. So if I'm taking 5,000 calories and ingesting that, but it's all food that is lacking nutrients, I'm just going to get fat. My hormones are just going to tank. And for me, my gut was in shambles. Like I would eat tons of, bread, and I would have a lot of gluten and things like that. And I just noticed that I got very tired. I couldn't digest it properly. Recently, I switched to mostly meat, and I've seen tremendous benefits. I've put on more size, more muscle, even into my lifting journey, this late into my lifting journey, and I'm very happy about that. I can eat a meal and not sit there and be tired and have to take a nap. I can eat a meal, not that it's recommended, and go on a run or workout. You might say, oh, it's so expensive to eat healthy. And again, I disagree with you. I think if you take the money that you would go and get junk food, shit food, save it or put that into real healthy foods, you'll notice big improvements, not only in your mood, but your skin, your hair, your muscle building, your recovery, all of these things, your brain fog, all of these things will improve. So take the money that you do have and put it into real nutritious food. Finding that may be different from state to state, but in person to person, I'm mainly just thinking about raw milk. Some states you can go to the grocery store and get it, and some, like in Missouri, you can't. So you have to identify what are like real nutritious foods. I won't get into the raw foods topic, but understand that a medium rare steak is going to have a lot more nutrient density than a McDonald's hamburger or a well done steak. So, and then the last tip I'm going to give you is mood and hormone optimization. We touched on this a little bit earlier, but if you're optimizing your hormones, you wake up as a man, you're ready to go for the day, or as a young man, you want to go to the gym, your workouts are going to be so much more intense. I think you should focus more on the intensity and the tear of the muscle or the fatigue you get rather than the actual exercise itself. Let me explain. If you're sitting, well, I'm going to optimize and do 3 sets of 8 of this and 2 sets of 8 of this because this is optimal, but you're not really getting the fatigue in your muscles. You're not really getting sore. You're not progressively overloading. I think you should focus on the intensity of your workout and recovery more so than just the specific lifts. I think compound lifts are great. If you go throw on a 45-pound plate and do dips for a month straight and increase your weight, you will get stronger. And you're recovering well and you're eating well. So these things should just naturally happen. But if you were like what I was doing, I would be so locked into my program. I really wasn't focusing on growth or overload or compound lifts. I was eating, food that wasn't actually nutrient dense. It was just empty calories. It was wrecking my gut. You can see I have acne, and I feel like I'm getting rid of it just by eliminating a lot of things. I've made great improvements. But if you focus on optimizing your hormones and your mood, you don't need pre-workout. I go to the gym and I'm excited that I get to work out. I have such energy and vigor when I go in there that I'm able to enjoy my workout. And then once I start getting tired, once I can kind of tell after about an hour of, going hard, like, okay, it's time to go home and rest and recover. I think that's a completely natural way of doing it. You don't need all these stimulants to go to the gym. That might not be a popular take, but that's just the way it is. I haven't had caffeine in, months, and I don't need it because I feel good naturally. And that's the whole goal. You should wake up and want to feel good naturally. So to summarize this video, you need to eat optimally, focus on what you're eating. If it's not nutritious, if you're not getting high protein, and the other thing is, like, if you're ingesting protein that you can't really digest well, then why are you eating it? Or food you can't digest well. Like, I couldn't process gluten. So if I went and had a big bowl of pasta, it's 2,000 calories, but I'm just wrecking my gut. I'm not actually getting any nutrients. So focus on the quality of food you're eating and what you're eating. The next thing is going to be your hormones and optimizing your energy levels and your hormones. And then how do you do that? Again, it goes back to food and your lifestyle. So I want to talk about the actual transition from being skinny to happy. I didn't cover it in the video, but happiness is kind of relative for you. Your goals might be different. You want to look like prime David Lade, and that's totally cool if that's your goal. For me, I remember being in high school and kids would take their hands and put them around my arms and just tell me I was grossly skinny. That was one time that happened, but it stuck out to me. So for me, now that doesn't happen, I can go into the gym, and guys are, it's always guys, are complimenting my physique, but like, my girlfriend really likes the way I look and stuff like that. It kind of makes you feel like you've gotten somewhere. You don't get the same negative reinforcement. So for you, your happiness might be different. But for me, it was just to bulk up a little bit. I think if you are looking to do that and put on size, if you incorporate what we talked about in this video, it will serve you right. So thanks for that I forgot to say that. So to summarize what we talked about in this video, it's going to be food, the quality of food you eat, the frequency at which you work out. You do not need to be going 5 or 6 days a week. That just seems a little unnecessary, especially as a natural lifter. And then the third one is going to be your mood and hormone optimization. Kind of reflects back to your diet. But if you're eating things that make you feel good, that make you want to work out, that give you energy, all this extra energy you want to get rid of, and your hormones are optimized, meaning your testosterone's the highest it could be as a man, and your estrogen's relatively low or in natural levels, then these will support you building muscle, and not only build muscle, but your hair, your skin, the quality of your life will be better. So I hope there was something that you could take away from this video and apply to yourself. I really appreciate you if you're still here watching. Have a good day.